Welcome to the podcast. We talk about all the things that are hidden in the shadows. And this is Isaac.
And this is Megan.
And on this episode, we talk about one of those creepy places in the world that you didn't really know about because either they try to keep it a secret or, they try to keep it a secret because I didn't even know about it.
Yeah, and it wasn't until I saw more TikTokers, like the paranormal TikTokers, kind of talking about it that I knew about it. I don't know, it's kind of weird when you put all the stuff that they talk about.
Yeah. We're talking about Dudleytown, Connecticut.
Yes, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time if I accidentally say Dudleyville.
Straight out Dudleyville.
I don't know why. It's like literally even writing my notes out, I've literally been writing Dudleyville instead of Dudleytown.
The Dudley boys are going to come in and do a 3D.
Oh my god. But yeah, so we're talking about Dudleytown, Connecticut. In Connecticut.
Yes. Nowhere else. Which I thought that was a weird name for a town, but...
Well, it's not the actual town. It's like a small section of the town, because that area, apparently the Dudley family settled there, and there was more residents other than the Dudleys, but like a lot of the relatives. But there's a backstory behind it.
What's the backstory?
So the backstory is this. Okay. So it was an abandoned settlement and has been the subject of many legends revolving around a rumor of a curse that followed the Dudleys. There was also some rumors that satanic rituals occurred in the town after it kind of was abandoned. Government conspiracies and more. According to an article by Only in Your State, some people have even called this the most evil place on Earth, and that many investigators have left totally creeped out at what they discovered during their little investigation in Dudleytown. The Warrens actually had warned people about this place in the 1970s and claimed the land itself to be demonically possessed.
Whole land?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was weird. Maybe like the person writing the article, like maybe they said it differently. I don't know if they could say like, I don't know. Could a land be demonically possessed?
I mean, I know things attached to lands, but possess itself.
I would think maybe if it was a portal itself and there was like no control over what the land did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could see that being I don't know. Okay. So the town itself is just a small section in a town called Cornwall, Connecticut. And the section that was known as Dudleytown was... Did I say it right? Dudleytown or Dudleyville?
You said Dudleytown.
Okay, good. Okay, just making sure. See, this whole time I've been like super confused. I keep saying... Anyways, okay. So the town was actually established in the 1740s and was abandoned in the early 1800s. The part that kind of surprises people, or even historians that look into it, is the fact that it was established so, like, in the 1740s and then kind of abandoned so quick. So the legend goes back to the Dudley family. There were rumors and legends that sparked that about them being the cause of how bad the town actually became. A relative of theirs apparently tried doing treason and overthrowing against Henry VIII, and then after that, their family began having a curse brought upon them, stringing bad luck. The legend has that they decided to flee to the United States in hopes of evading this curse that had been put on their family. Dudleytown was originally settled by a guy named Thomas Griffiths, and then Gideon Dudley and several relatives later settled there as well. So that's kind of why I guess it was maybe called Dudleytown. Was because
1740s, the United States didn't exist. It would just been a new world at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that kind of leads to my theory at the end.
Yeah.
A little bit. Other families had settled there too, but the Dudleys were a big part of the residents there. And there's kind of like a spiritual legend and like a more of a non-spiritual legend as to what they thought went on at Dudleytown. So the non-spiritual side is that a lot of the families that settled here in America converted forest land to farmland, and the Dudleys were no different. According to an article by Wikipedia, Dudleytown was not suitable for farming, and that led to residents eventually abandoning the town, especially once like land in the Midwestern part of the United States started opening up and you could do more farming and stuff like that. So, and yeah, when other land opened up and became more fertile and created better opportunities for families, they decided to leave. MoneyInc.com did an article on why you should visit Dudleytown, and they specified that because the Dudleys got there, it wasn't as bad at the very beginning. At the very beginning, they were a thriving community. They farmed what they could. You know, it wasn't the best, but they still had farmland. They were raking in money from stuff that they were doing there, and the iron industry was thriving at the time. So the Dudleys at the very beginning were like, you know what? This isn't so bad. Let's go here. Let's go here. So they came, and then the rest of their family came and all of that. So researchers have said that the town also was a bit of a ways away from clean water. And then, of course, they also said that the farmland eventually was difficult to farm. And the iron industry, when it went downhill, also pushed a lot of people out of the town, out of that area. So, yeah, but there's speculations that because of what was placed on the Dudley family, because the Dudley family in where they originated from dealt with a lot of death and a lot of like just bizarre situations, bad situations. They did interview, or they did ask, I think, like a descendant of the Dudleys today, and the descendant said that he denied like the curse. Like there's not really anything bad that's ever happened to me or relatives. But yeah, he's apparently a descendant. So that's kind of up in the air. You know, what part is actually, that's just all kind of legend based. So yeah. Currently there are no buildings left. It's just kind of like the slight foundations of what was from that time period. And it's currently not available for people to look or investigate. Apparently there was a lot of vandalism that took place in the 1980s, and since the location is a private property, the owners take great lengths to keep everybody out, even to a point where they said whoever trespasses will get the full wrath of the law. So,
Which trespassing is that much of a what do you call it? Then again, I don't know Connecticut's laws on like we call it castle laws and stuff like that, which means if you come on someone's property with violent intent, they can shoot you on sight. But I don't know if Connecticut's that potent about it. But if you don't have any weapons, that's as much of a threat it can be.
yeah.
But also like trespassing laws, you mostly is pay a fine or go to jail for like at most a week.
Yeah.
And then you pay fines like in close to $2,000 more if someone really pushes it. So they'll say the fault of the law if you trespass. It's just like
yeah, but that's what makes people like kind of like, okay, well, what the heck? Because there was one person that said, yeah, that they like kind of tried to go, because obviously there's people that are going to be like, bet, you know, and try and go. But they said they actually had like full-fledged like police like going around our office. I don't know if it was security officers or police, but they said police.
If it's police, then they ain't got a lot of crime going on for someone to guard a piece of land.
Yeah, or there's something there that's crazy.
I would say security more than anything.
Even the government doesn't want. So that's kind of up in the air. I know there was some investigators, I can't think of their actual name, but some investigators that kind of were digging around the land. They wanted to fly a drone in there. And they were asking like people in the surrounding area, because like I said, it's a small little private property section that was the settlement. It's not like the full town. The full town is Cornwall. So, they were asking around like, hey, have you ever had any stories? Because some of these residents have been there for years. And they were actually asking like where the actual property was. and they did not have like nice responses. Like some people were like, "Get the hell, leave my Dudleytown alone!" Like it was crazy. And see, like obviously being where we are, there is abandoned settlements. Like we have one that's actually in our town. It's on base. We've talked about it in the Camp Lejeune episode.
Totally forgot about that.
Yeah, but there's they call it Old Turning Point, and it's on base. I don't even know if anybody really truly knows, but it's kind of like this where like there's a slight foundation or slight like remnants from it. But you don't have, I mean, obviously to get on base, you have to get on base,
Yeah.
but like there's nobody guarding it like this place. Granted, this place is, but the name itself, okay, the name itself of the people that own the land that prevent people from going is creepy. I heard the name of that and it just sounded like a weird, like, club or something that specializes in creepy stuff.
Dark Entry Forest Association.
Yeah. Why Dark Entry? Why can't you just be the Connecticut Forest Association? Or like Forest Association? Why the Dark Entry?
Which a recognized association of national forests, right? Mm-hmm. Don't have private sectors like that.
Yeah.
So this is someone wanting to have an official professional name, like, you know, for the National Forest Association, but doesn't.
But it
just wants to, you know.
Yeah.
But Dark Entry just sounds like you're kind of giving away what you're doing.
Yeah. But the creepy thing, too, is one of the videos that talks about, because you can go on TikTok and you can find a good chunk of videos on this. But one of the things that they said is that the owners try to conceal their identities like hardcore. Like they don't want people knowing why. If you own the property, why not?
Well, before we get into speculation, I'll do a little logical. Now, probably the reason why they prosecute people so hard for going onto the property because they had vandalism done in the past. If you want to look at a, not logical per se, but maybe the other side of the coin when it comes to playing devil's advocate over here.
Yeah.
Is that maybe they are tired of people coming on the land performing satanic rituals, right? So if you caught them, they're going to get arrested, right?
Yeah.
And they can't say, well, investigators can come, but they can't. So they just have to say, you know, fuck everybody, you can't come on here. So basically say, no, come here. Yeah. And also people who would just like vandalize a town or whatever like that. So they're just like, they're tired of people coming on their land and doing whatever. Get out of here. So I basically just said, stop coming here. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's haunted, but you're not allowed to come here anymore. And they're tired of dealing with people. So that probably gives away the age of who owns it.
Yeah.
But that would be in everyone else's mind who's not the paranormal, the sensible idea of why.
Yeah.
But it explains a lot of reasons why they haven't looked for people to help
cleanse it.
Well, cleanse it, but clear it, essentially like that. And maybe they have in the past and no one could. Or maybe they did and it just made things worse. Who knows? Yeah. Like I said, I think that we want the kind of people we would want to contact. But how they answer would give away a lot of what these speculations are.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into that theory, was it some of the investigators who had gone in the past, including the Warrens, said that it was like there's no insects, no animals, nothing. It's so quiet. It feels like you're in a recording booth.
Yeah.
It's almost like the sound is like just there's nothing to create sound.
Yeah. And also, too, they said that the camera, like your camera will get in there, malfunction, like the pictures will not come out correctly. And then you leave the area and they function fine. There wasn't a lot per se there was a couple, like if you go on Reddit and stuff like that, of Reddit stories. Not a lot, but there's some. And I found that a lot of the encounter stories that they were being told is that, you definitely get a creepy feeling. Apparently, you see a lot of orbs. You see a lot of like shadowy things. And one of the things they did say is that apparently, like when the town started getting creepy, back in the 1800s, that people were seeing like shadow things. And I was reading the comments of all the videos just to see other people's perspective and what they thought and what they think and all that stuff. And a lot of people, I've never actually seen the movie, so I don't know, but we're referring to like whenever they hear about Dudleytown, they think of the village.
Have you seen The Village?
No.
Then I don't understand how that makes any sense.
Really?
Village, basically, spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen it, a movie that's almost 15 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
A group of philosophers, actually, no, it was a group of people who had lost people to gun violence
Mm-hmm.
and other crimes, right? Like a support group.
Yeah.
And they were tired of basically the current societal world, so they bought a piece of land, combined their money together. Mind you, had money as well. Bought a piece of land in the middle of nowhere, made laws with the government to not allow planes to fly over or people to come in.
How does that not make sense?
Let me finish.
Okay.
Not allow people to fly over or planes to come in, and basically created their own society there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, that in the village itself was about miles, like almost 10, 15 miles, if not more, away from the nearest road.
Mm-hmm.
Of like our society, where that was the twist at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But their whole plot is that they created this so they didn't have to be around normal society. And they based a time period like the early 1800s, if not earlier, and all the kids born there, everyone like that who were not an elder, right, didn't know the truth. They all thought that it was 1746 or whatever year it took place in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the way to keep people from actually trying to escape and go into the woods,
Mm-hmm.
just travel out, is they created monsters that would terrorize people, or that would even remotely go out of the town. Like basically, imagine something in the hood with like a giant, like pokey straw head and giant claws, like walking around the woods and stuff like that, right? And that would scare them from leaving. Until one blind girl basically left to go into town, to look for medicine. When really she jumped over a stone fence and found herself next to a highway. In our time. That was a twist. The twist. The M.O.S. Shyamalan twist.
Oh my god. Okay.
Anyway, but I understand like the law thing about allowing planes to fly over and no one to go in. I can see that's the kind of relation to it.
Yeah.
That there's a bigger, deeper secret in there. But Dudleytown itself is within another town.
Mm-hmm.
And Dudleytown is now just a piece of land. Granted, a big piece of land, but it's just a piece of land, like someone's ranch, you would say.
Yeah.
Granted, it has historical facts behind it and a creepy history. Like I said, even the Warrens, they said when they went to investigate, this place is extremely haunted and no one should ever go there.
Yeah. And there was a story. So apparently they did like a Halloween special from them. It was a documentary, but I could not find the documentary anywhere. So I don't know exactly what that is, but it was mentioned in an article. But one story that I saw that they talked about that, I think it was on Reddit, but I'm not sure. But this guy was retelling about how he he went to a university in Connecticut, and he was in it was a class that he randomly took. It had nothing to do with his degree or something like that, but they basically had the Warrens come in and talk during one of the lectures. And he said he really didn't believe in what the Warrens were talking about. He was not a skeptic, but didn't really, I don't know, like believe in what they were showing him. And it was kind of like, like, look at this picture, this is evidence, like that kind of thing. And he said, everything was done. He was getting up, and Lorraine Warren ran back on stage, and she goes, everyone sit down for a second. I there's something I need to tell you guys. And so she was like, I know you guys live in Connecticut and we're close to Dudleytown, but I advise you, please, under no circumstances, this is not something to toy around with. Do not. You don't even have to believe in what we were talking about, but do not go to Dudleytown, please. And so he said that, he really didn't believe in what she was saying before that, but he was like, after she said that, there was like sincerity in her voice. And he said that was just like a memory that kind of stuck with him. He himself never went to Dudleytown, but he was like, he just thought that was weird. So.
Mm.
Whether or not you like believe what the Warrens did or whatever.
When they went, I wonder what they encountered.
Yeah.
Enough for them to say this place haunted, don't go
because there. I feel like with the the Conjuring house and stuff like that, they were like, "Oh, this is scary. Like, it's not good." But like they were literally urging people not to go to Dudleytown. So for them to get some sort of a little bit of a panic behind it or a little bit of an urgency behind it, it had to have been something. And that's the thing, and I know we talked a little bit about this in the theories with Sally House, is that I had said that maybe at the beginning it wasn't that bad, but then someone went in there and conjured something up that took advantage of what was there and then blew it up like completely, right? And I think maybe this could have been the case too, that maybe, oh, you had some spirits that maybe were lingering because obviously during that time period there was a lot of just brutality all around with different things in different situations. And maybe it started out as just not that bad. And then someone got wind that like about the whole curse thing and whatever and started trying to conjure things up and then opened up a bigger portal, because that's one of the things that they keep saying is portal. People keep saying about a portal.
So now we're going into our theories.
Yeah.
Yes, one of the theories is always told is that Dudleytown itself not has a portal, is a portal. I mean, the entire area, which is how much you say it was, like
about 490 acres. I mean, not acres. Yeah, acres.
So that's like almost a mile in radius.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
I mean, it's big.
It's big. It's a big piece of land, but not like a big enough to be a town, as you could
I mean, so when it comes to portals.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big portal. Yeah.
But that's what they were saying, is that itself is a portal. Which if you do perform anything evil on there, or maybe it has a bunch of portals, who knows?
Yeah.
That it opened up and allowed a lot of things to come in. Maybe it's one giant evil portal. Who knows?
Yeah. And it's crazy because a lot of the encounter stories, they start off as, like a bunch of teens that go there or people that are interested, like thrill seeker type people, investigators. And they go there and they think, oh, it's like, what is this? It's nothing. But a lot of stories it's almost like the Sally House where a lot of people have experienced things. Like you have some naysayers and some people are like, there's nothing there. Like, why are you freaking out? Like, there's nothing. But there's a lot more people that are questioning things, that are like, what's going on, that are freaked out by what's going on there. Kind of like the Sally House, how you have where a lot of people, I mean, there's a lot more experiences than no experiences. You know what I mean? So.
Wasn't the theory also something about a Native American curse?
No, that was my theory.
Oh, never mind.
I think maybe the area that's there is cursed. Like a Native American could have been a burial ground that somebody tapped into by accident that did something, or there could have even been someone that did something satanic that was near an Indian burial or Native burial ground.
Or all of the above.
Or all of the above. Who the heck knows at this point? But, and especially the fact too that even back in the settlement days, they were trying to, they converted the forest to farmland. And the reason why I say this is the whole channeling thing that I did. So everybody knows that apparently that listens to the podcast knows I have a habit of channeling. And this one wasn't bad, like how I was
and remote viewing.
And remote viewing, yeah. How I wasn't dealing with the
Only in Hidden Shadows podcast can you get the perspective of a psychic who can go places.
Yeah. Well.
Maybe there's other ones out there, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is you're not supposed to if you haven't been there. So at least that's what I've been told by other people. But sometimes I just do it naturally and I can't help it. Especially when I'm researching.
But what did you see?
Oh my gosh. It wasn't anything like crazy like what I saw with the Sally House. But so I was on the side road. It was like a highway leading to this forest area. And I was like, oh snap, like where am I? And I was looking and I had this really weird feel. It was almost like a I don't know how to put it, like an invisible shield kind of thing going on, like a wall. And I was like, okay, well, what is this? So immediately I got Dudleytown was on the other side of this forest area, right? And so I was getting ready to step into would have been like the shield wall thing. It sounds so, just trust me. Sorry. I know. I know it sounds crazy, but so I went to kind of like get ready to go forward and I got stopped. And all of a sudden these hooded figures started coming out of the woods and said, "No, you can't go further." And or somebody said that. I don't know if it was coming from the hooded figures or who said that, but it basically said, "No, you can't go further." And they stopped. It was like a row of them. Like they were stopping me from going past that like shield. And it's crazy because I've seen that shield on like the astral plane in dreams and stuff, but I've never seen it remote viewing. And so, obviously I didn't press on that. I was like, we're using no, we're not going to go. But I've only seen that where, and I don't know why, like, because obviously I always talk about how like certain psychics get certain symbols or visions or something like that. That's specific to like what they see. Like it's almost like they have a catalog of symbols and things that they're shown that mean certain things. And for me, whenever I see the hooded, I don't even know how to explain, like just a hooded, almost like Grim Reaper, but not Grim Reaper. Like it's a totally different look to it. But that to me normally means there's like cursed land or like the land itself has got something tied to it. And normally that can also mean like Native American burial ground interference, like curses on the land, like that kind of thing. So I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I mean, there's no real way to kind of, I mean, back in the 1800s, I mean, obviously Native Americans were still getting brutally attacked. So,
Well, as I always do in our episodes, I have theories. And really, there's only two with the situation. And one is it's haunted because of now, or it was haunted because of then. Haunted because of then is that the land itself, natives knew its specialty, or knew it was special because it did have portals. And knew because any place that had portals, Native Americans would build for Native American burial sites because it would help their ancestors move on, or help those who passed on move on to the other side, to the astral plane, to the ancestral plane. This is why they built one above Bell Witch Cave. You know that story about Witch, why, and also why the Bell Witch itself used it as well because she knew the power came from there. But going back to Dudleytown, they used that for that situation. And then when the settlers came in, basically told them, get the F off the land. We own it now. They know it's not your land. There might have been some scruffle, some kind of war, and a curse put on the Dudley family name already established from what they, the crap they ran from in the first place. So you had land, cursed land, to start off with. Now, 1700s, the witch hunts and all that stuff, right? Were happening at the time. Some possible real witches are out there. Maybe one of them knew the power of the land, knew the curse of the land, knew everything around it, and thought, this is a perfect place for me to make a sacrifice or open up, allow demons to travel through, right? Maybe she did. Granted, this is all speculation. And that would amplify it to it being an annoyance to nothing can ever happen here ever again. Nothing can grow.
Yeah.
No animals want to be around. Any of that.
Yeah.
And that's why the town was abandoned.
Well, that's why it makes me kind of feel like it's something curse related because of the fact there's no animals, no bugs, no nothing. You know what I mean? It's supposed to just be. It just, and then too, I didn't even mention this. Apparently, if you take anything from the location, or anybody that's tried to live there, like I don't know if these people actually live there. The Dark Entity Forest Association.
Dark
Entry, sorry. Dark Entity. See? Anyways, or Dark Entry Forest Society. If they actually live there, or they just have the land and they just have people that watch over it. But either way, anybody that's tried to attempted to live there, because I think there was previous owners too, yeah, they get very sick. They have very bad problems. Same thing with if you take something. Apparently, if you take anything from there, you take kind of like the curse or the whatever with you.
Mm.
And it's crazy because when you think of curses and you think of people that have dealt with being cursed or had a curse put on them, or even being like hexed or anything, hexing and cursing is a little bit different, but it's also somewhat similar. You think of like sickness and just bad luck, you know? And that seems like what was following the people was mental, like they had said, like during the village, like when it was starting to go downhill, people were getting mental illnesses. Were they getting mental illness or were they being possessed? That's another question. Because sometimes, that happens. Well,
which then, sorry, that's the then theory. Cursed lands, Native Americans, devil worship, blah, 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 creates it what it is now. And it stayed that way without any effects and stuff like that. So let's relate it into a now theory. None of that happened, right? No Native American land, no Native American ground, possible portals. People heard about it through stories and stuff like that. Some satanic worshippers went to the land thinking that it could do that stuff or already was established, did rituals, and actually did open it up now.
Yeah.
And because of that, owners don't want anybody to go anymore there to prevent it from happening any worse than it already is.
Yeah.
So that kind of ties in with a little bit of the actual factual history of why they believe it didn't work, but not erasing the idea that it's haunted.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Well, apparently the 80s and 90s, it was really big to go there, like to investigate. And they had a lot of teenagers that would camp out there, a lot of whatever. And also that was when the movie Blair Witch was big. So, well, not the 80s, but more in the 90s.
1998 or 99, I can't remember what.
Really? In the end? I don't know.
Yeah.
But when that movie came out, then it became super big and a lot of people were flocking there. So I thought that was interesting. I don't
Dark
know.
Force scariness?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess people want to, I don't know, thrill seek.
There was a place in Massachusetts.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why. But that was one of the things that somebody in an article had put together or thought of because...
But yeah, those are, there's a situation why, which I always said, I remember when I first brought this up to you, it was like, that's some place that we could or should go. And that's the thing, though. There's also the theory that, it's not our theories, but it's what's been said about, is that owners of the land know its power, don't want any randoms coming there, but they do satanic stuff and know the power of it, hence why they don't allow anybody there, but also why they don't allow anybody to cleanse it.
Cleanse it, yeah.
Because they know the power that's coming from there and they don't want it to go away. So, let's say we're established several years from now, we've done whatever we need to do to get, like, recognition. And we ask to say, we can take care of it for you. Because we can't. And they say no.
Yeah.
They say no without a reason. Now we can't give a reason now why they would say no. Because it's the future thoughts and it's not anything that happen. We're playing with house money here.
Yeah.
But if they said no and they give us a reason why, we can only assume it's because they don't want anything to change.
Yeah. And that's the crazy thing is, like, you take some place that, they may say, hey, we don't want it cleansed. That's haunted or whatever, that people go and they actually pay money to go see. So that could be a reason why. But nobody's allowed in this. So they're not making money from it. So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason to not cleanse it. I don't know.
That is a foreshadowing for a future episode.
Yeah, maybe.
Several years from now.
Yeah. We will be doing cleansing Dudleytown episode.
You always said Dudleyville.
I almost did. See, I don't know why. It's like, And I don't even watch wrestling. So you
No.
even say like
We even watched wrestling when they were even popular. So I was like, you were a little kid when they were.
Well, no. When they came back, though, I remember them when they came back.
Yeah, but the whole Dudleyville thing and straight out of Dudleyville and all that was like Attitude Era 90s, like late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, talk. But I think that
wraps it up because, like I said, there is. Oh, another thing, real quick before we end the episode is
encore. One more thing.
One of the girls that covered the story that's on TikTok, that she's like one of the bigger people with a bigger following, so hers is like up there when it comes to. She's really good though at retelling like spooky stories, but she was saying that even when she was researching on Dudleytown, that she almost said Dudleyville again, Dudleytown, that she couldn't find any pictures. So the concept of the cameras act weird when you're in there is actually kind of accurate. She couldn't find hardly any pictures. I thought that was interesting.
Yes. And like I said before, we'll be able to go there when we get more recognition. And speaking of recognition, the first, this is a little teaser for next week's bonus episode. Our first brick into the house of recognition for Shadow Walker Paranormal. We're going to bring on Barry, who's a person we helped recently with a situation he was dealing with his own place. Mm-hmm. I know we talked about a haunted update where we went through the whole story about what he went through and what I pulled from his place. Mm-hmm. But now you get to hear it directly from him. So if you had any doubts, if you hardly believed, if you had any hesitation from asking us for help because you didn't really honestly believe we could help, or you didn't believe what we could do, you get to hear it from someone who's not us.
Yeah. It's interesting to hear the perspective from the other person that needs help too.
His own testimonial about how we helped him.
Yeah.
And how he's doing today and all that stuff. So that is next week's bonus episode.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to throw this in there just in case. If anybody has any paranormal encounter stories that they want to share with us, or they want us to maybe do on a listener submission episode, feel free to message us on any form of social media, or even on our Gmail, which is hidden in the shadows podcast at gmail.com. And you could submit your story, and we read all of it. Like, we don't, we're putting together, hopefully sometime in September or October, a listener submission episode so you guys can hear other people's encounter stories, because that's how we originally started, was sharing our encounter stories so that you guys know that, like, this is stuff that we experience. And it's kind of interesting when you hear other people's experiences as well. And you can make the connections and connect the dot, like, hey, I've dealt through that too, or I've been through that, or I've witnessed that. So if you guys have any encounter stories and you want us to, talk about it and put it on an episode, or even just if you want to share it, and you don't have to even give us your name if you don't want to. Mm-hmm. Just message us.
And also, I know I talked about the bonus episode that's coming out with Barry, and his testimony. But the actual episode next week, we are talking about something that is semi-popular now, I guess. Well, it was based on it. Anyway, we're going to talk about the Montauk Project.
Yeah.
Which Stranger Things, which we're fans of,
yeah,
was based on, right? The whole basis of Stranger Things, the whole original ideas was based on the Montauk Project.
It was even called the Montauk.
Originally,
yeah.
Which the things I've learned about the Montauk Project, and there's stuff on the surface that was shared amongst the public wise, and there's so much more shit underneath that has been exposed, has been told, whether it's theorized or whatever, and that is a crazy situation.
I think it's one of the biggest conspiracy theories that is kind of.
It's on top of the list. Yeah,
it's definitely in the top 10. Yeah.
Yeah, which in the next couple of episodes we're going to be dipping into the conspiracy theory areas.
Yeah,
just for funsies, a little, maybe step out of the paranormal a little bit. But yeah, so look forward to those 2 episodes next week. Barry's testimonial and the Montauk Project.
Yeah.
But I think,
I think that covers it.
Yeah. Okay. No haunted update.
No.
We always have shit that happens. None of it's really important.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can catch our social media at Hidden in the Shadows Podcast on Instagram, Hidden in the Shaw 6 on Twitter, Hidden the Podcast 2 on TikTok, or links to all our social media, and always listen to us at hiddentheshadowspodcast.com. Yeah, guys. So we'll catch your weirdos in the next one.
Yeah.
smile.